6775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. First timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Alton Moore, Evolution Tax and Legal. Welcome.
How's it going, Ron?
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team. When it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, another beautiful day at Ron Siegel Radio. We are celebrating today. Well, I don't know about most of you, but if you are old like me, you probably remember this one. Today is Little Red Wagon Day. How many remember the Little Red Wagons? That's an old timer. I don't know if too many people are remembering. I'm not sure any of my kids even remember the Little Red Wagon. I don't know about this one, though. Today's National Prom Day. Isn't it a little early in the... Well, maybe I guess under normal circumstances, we would be getting into prom season, but I don't know that there's going to be too many proms this year. Manatee Appreciation Day, Crayon Day, Bunsen Burner Day. I guess I don't know if the prom day and Bunsen Burner Day, do they go together? I don't think so. That caused a problem there. Having beaten anorexia, though, there are two different items that we can look at. I don't know if they go together. National Clams on the Half Shell. Okay, I like that one. And National Tater Day. I don't know, clams and taters. I'm not sure about that combination, but I do move on. Hey, let's take a look at what the markets are doing today. Dow Jones Industrial Average now up 30 points. S&P 500 up 28 points. NASDAQ up 233 points. Oil up 15 cents a barrel. Do you want me to tell you about it? Some people get upset when I tell them about this on a regular basis just because, I don't know, maybe people don't want to know about the formerly golden state of Venezuela, but hey, gas prices, that's correlated to the oil prices in this world. $2.59.2 is the average of a gallon of gasoline. Not in Venezuela. You have to go to Mississippi for that. How about $3.68 a gallon? Not again in Venezuela. That would be from the oil-producing state of Hawaii. Oh, wait a second. I don't think they produce oil in Hawaii. Maybe they do. $3.90 a gallon. $3.90 a gallon. Ow! Yeah, that's what we're paying in Venezuela. $3.90 is the average of a gallon of gasoline right here in Venezuela. $2.87.4 is the national average. So keep on voting the way you're voting and get the what you get. So about last I heard, somewhere in the range of about 85 cents a gallon of your gas pricing is going to taxes. 80 to 85 cents going to taxes. Well, and Mayor Pete, I guess now you call him Secretary Pete Buttigieg, however you say his name, I'm not exactly sure. He wants to tax us a little more. He wants to put a mileage tax on. Now, I'm not sure how they're going to master the mileage tax. I guess you have to report your odometer reading at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, and then you get taxed on that too. Wonder if you go backwards everywhere, if that works. I guess I digress. That probably is not the idea here. But I venture to guess when it comes to people trying to beat the system, everything is fair game. But, we want to make sure we're doing things the legal way. We don't want to get in any trouble today or any other day. Speaking of trouble, President probably has a little bit of time on his hands. I should get that song on our playlist here, little time on his hands. If you want to look at the president's schedule from yesterday, you could probably memorize it. Now, most presidents, they're pretty busy people. President Biden, though, he had a 2:00 p.m. signing of the PPP Extension Act of 2021. That's it. That was his whole schedule for yesterday. He's pretty busy today. He's got to get on Air Force One, and he's going to go and do a speech talking about how he's going to blow more of our money, put us more in debt. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, they call that infrastructure, I guess, in some ways. And, the president, when he does do his speaking, I guess I should look at this, some of our notes. They're going to call it the Help is Here Tour. The president's going to Pittsburgh today on the Help is Here Tour. I'm going to spend talking about, I've heard anywhere from $2 trillion, $3 trillion, $4 trillion. He's going to spend that. He doesn't have that kind of money, right? The president does not have that kind of money. I know he's been in politics for 50 years, and he's made millions. Wait a second. He's worth millions and millions of dollars now that he's been in politics for 50 years. As a senator, I think he made somewhere in the range of $150,000 a year. Vice president probably made a little more than that, but he's become a millionaire on those two jobs. Never had another job. How does that work? Scratch your head, see if you can figure that out. But you and I, middle class, we're going to pay for this. I know he says only people over $400,000 a year. They're not going to pay for it, I promise you. They don't cut their lifestyle. They find great tax people. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. They find great tax people that make use of the laws the way they're written. Right? The laws are written by politicians, right? Most of them are attorneys. Most of them have friends who are attorneys, trial lawyers, accountants. They figure out where the loopholes are. You and I, we can't afford to find those things. I move on. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Vice President Harris, she's on her hyena tour. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She's just laughing about the student education and how valuable teachers are. So that was her latest laugh. Before it was about the border. Well, she's not too happy with the president. He better watch out because you get Kamala Harris on your tail, you might be in trouble. So she didn't like the idea of having the border crisis dumped in her lap. It's like a hot potato. The president doesn't want to deal with it. Vice president doesn't want to deal with it. But they were sure quick to destroy what was already going on. So she's going to be the diplomatic liaison. I don't know. Maybe she's going to go and talk to the cartels about diplomacy. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But she told the president she didn't want to do what he had her in mind.
Nothing like a little air superiority.
Moving right along. Let's see on the border. Yeah, latest stats Sunday, a couple days ago, 5,767 children taken into Border Patrol custody. 5,767. It's not a crisis. And I know we can't call it a surge. AOC told us we cannot call it a surge because that's a military term. Well, at least it's not racist, so at least we're better off there. Probably about 35 to 40,000 children are on their way to the border, all under the age of 18, trying to find their kids. Okay, we'll see what happens on that one. Got the trial going on in Minneapolis, although it's really a waste of time if you follow the folks at the Cannabis News Network or MSNBC, right? Because they've already come up with the verdict. They don't need to hear the evidence. Why bother with little things like evidence? So they've already convicted Derek Chauvin. Now, he may be guilty. I don't know. I think it's probably wise to listen to both sides of the story, let a jury decide. But the Cannabis News Network, they've already got that down pat. They know what's going to happen here, so let's keep on moving. Hey, here's another story that you will not hear in the mainstream media. Last Tuesday, a week ago, two teenage girls aged 13 and 15, can't tell you their names, tried to hijack a car in Washington, D.C. I don't know why I don't want to tell you this, because here's the issue here. You've got, this doesn't fit the narrative, right? They had stun guns. It wasn't an AR-15 or AK-47 or any of those things. So they had stun guns is what they used. They went and tried to hijack a Mr. Mohammed Anwar's car. He's an Uber Eats driver. Yeah, well, when Mr. Anwar tried to get out of the car, they drag him along the road. He's killed. But the two teenage girls, African Americans, killed an immigrant. That's not going to make the news from any place. So we're just not going to cover that one. I won't tell you about all of that just went on. So that could cause a problem if we actually talk about that and tell you what's going on in the world today. But Elizabeth Warren, she's back in the news, attacking Amazon. Have you heard this one? Now, only Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas as some may know her, come about and give you this one. Saying Amazon does not pay its fair share. Now, what is its fair share? Well, you and I know that. It's whatever Elizabeth Warren says it is. But in 2020, Amazon's going to start fighting back now. In 2020, $7 billion in federal tax expense. $7 billion. On top of that, $18 billion in generated in sales tax for states and localities. $350 billion in investments since 2010. 400,000 jobs. But they're not paying their fair share, according to Senator Warren. Amazing. Now, you know something? If that's not their fair share, $18 billion, well, they're just following the tax laws. I wonder, maybe she'll go about changing tax law. There's a couple polls that I think you might want to know about. The cancel culture, Harvard-Harris poll. 64% say there's a growing cancel culture threat to freedom. We talked about that in the Masters yesterday. And Saddleback College, we got a problem here. Saddleback College cannot use the name Gaucho anymore because it's a cultural appropriation. Saddleback College are going to change it. I wonder if UC Santa Barbara is going to have to change their name now too. So we'll be watching that for you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about taxes. Yeah, it's tax season. Prop 19, do you want to know about it? You better, because it's in your future. It's actually law now, so we're going to learn a bit about that. We're going to also talk, we've got that featured home today, and is home ownership still considered part of the American dream? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Real Estate Radio is hosted by local real estate and finance expert Ron Siegel. The purpose of this show is to help consumers understand what's really going on in our local real estate market. We're teaching you the why and the how-to, so you'll always be one step ahead of everyone else. Whether you need to sell your home for top dollar, refinance and save money, or even buy a bargain in Southern California, Ron Siegel can help. Call Ron directly at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Take advantage of speaking with Ron anytime you're entering a real estate transaction. Having someone who can answer all of your questions that truly cares about you and your family's best interest is priceless. Call Ron Siegel today and you'll be glad you did. 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or you can visit realestateradio.com for more info.
Blue Water Credit Repair is the industry leader in fixing bad credit. Did you know a 40-point increase in your credit score can save you $40,000 on a home loan and $4,000 on a car loan? You deserve good credit and peace of mind. Take the first step today and go to bluewatercredit.com and register for a free consultation from one of their credit repair experts. That's bluewatercredit.com.
Trimming of your retirement does not include losing your house.
However, due to today's lower stock market, higher medical bills, and taxes, many retirees face this very problem. This is why it is necessary that you, as a baby boomer considering retirement within the next 10 years, understand reverse mortgages and what one could do for you or your parents. A reverse mortgage could make it possible for you or your parents to travel, buy a second home, or start a new business. For more information about reverse mortgages, just call our off-air number at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit realestatewithron.com and click the free workshop button.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed rate below 3.5% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $300,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,300 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed to NMLS ID 217037. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Dow Jones now up 25 points. NASDAQ up 242 points. S&P 500 up 2880. 10-year Treasury down just a tick. Yield of 1.71. Mortgage-backed securities up. The bond is up. That means interest is down just ever so slightly. But why? Well, the answer to that question is pretty simple. The Mortgage Bankers Association today, they released their mortgage application data for the week ending 3/26, showing that overall application volume decreased by 2.2%. Applications to purchase a home were down 2%. Refinances decreased by 3%. ADP came out with their employment report today, showed that there was an increase of 517,000 jobs. That was what was created in the private sector in March, higher than expectations of 500,000. February's figure was revised higher by 59,000 from 117 to 176,000 jobs. We're looking at also the pending home sales measures, signed contracts in existing homes. Misleading number, it decreased by 10.6% in February, which was lower than the expected 3% decrease. How do you buy a house? How do you go into a contract on a house when there's no inventory out there? That's what the problem is. That's what they don't want to tell you. So you'll hear the headlines today. Housing sector slowing because the pending home sales came out poor. Well, why did that happen? No one's going to talk about the fact that availability is down 30%. Now, do you remember where we were in March of last year? When you talk about availability being down this far in March of last year, the country shut down. So just remember some of these numbers, especially in the next few months as we move forward. That is the Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. Hey, let's talk. It's tax season, and we were lucky enough to pull Alton Moore away from all of the lovely tax forms. And Alton, I am sure glad that you're with us. I'm glad that you are the tax guru, because I started going to school for it. When I went to Chapman College, it wasn't a university back then. I was looking at a degree in law and becoming a CPA, and I sat there saying all those forms, and I said, I think I'd rather talk on radio. Actually, I didn't say anything about radio, but you've got all that education background, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of schooling, and let me tell you what, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I'm actually practicing now, because really sitting in front of a book for that long a time just makes your eyes go a little numb. I don't know how else to put it.
So what part of law do you like the most? Because you probably had to do some overview of different things, and where did you like? I mean, I don't think I could possibly handle being a defense attorney, but I have had some on the broadcast before. But tell me what your thoughts are.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I actually liked criminal law the most. I mean, in my first year or so when I was at law school, but then, practicality set in. You got to go work for a public defender. You're not making much money. You got to do that for like 10, 15 years. So that just didn't, kind of mix with what I wanted to do. And then I ended up liking tax law, right? And I did accounting undergrad, then just went into that, and it just kind of came naturally for me. So, I will tell you, there are some really boring subjects, civil procedure, how cases are filed. Man, it's terrible. It makes you fall asleep in the middle of class.
That was my problem. And
yeah,
I think that I can't read, going in there and trying to listen to a professor talking about tax law and accounting and forms. Yeah, probably wasn't for me. But right now, one of the big issues, big topics that we hear, especially out in the real estate world and planning, is this California Prop 19 that I know the California Association of Realtors got behind. I have no idea why, but can you explain that a little bit to us?
Yeah. I'm sure some of your listeners are familiar with it, but just from a high level, what they did is they changed the property tax reassessment exemptions. So specifically for transfers from parent to child, grandparent to grandchild, and then for those who are seniors as well. So, I mean, in California fashion, right, they, what you used to be able to do is transfer your property with the same property tax basis to your children, right? No big deal. They didn't have to live in it. Now you can do that, but it's severely limited, and your child actually has to move in the house as their own principal residence to do that. And then if you want to try to transfer like a rental property or something, there's no more transfer basis. That's just completely out the window. So that's one side. And then I would say, unlike California fashion, they actually decided to favor the seniors here. Maybe they realize those are the people who are paying the most amount of taxes, but they're allowing them to transfer their property tax basis on a looser basis. So instead of having to move within the same county, now you can move everywhere in California. You could transfer it up to 3 times instead of 1 time. There are some value limitations, but generally speaking, they did loosen that up for the purposes of seniors. But one thing I thought was funny that you'll see in the legislation or just even the policy, what California said is that they're trying to combat, East Coasters, wealthy East Coasters who are taking advantage of California's property tax laws to pass inheritances or income-producing properties down to their children, which, I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous or not, but I think they're missing their message, right? They're hitting the people who are living here in California the hardest.
Surprise on that one, right? I mean, California wanting to tax us more, that's going to be a real shocker. Now,
yeah.
Is there any kind of planning that we can do? And I know that there were some deadlines that already passed, but is there any kind of planning? I mean, back in the 80s, in order to try and solve some of these issues, I remember we used to put our properties into an irrevocable trust, and then we would just sell the trust. Is that something that's going to be coming back? Is that legal? Is it something that people are doing?
So, all right. So there's some varying dates, like you said, that kind of coincide with planning ability. So that parent to child transfer or that exemption transfer change, that went into effect on February 16th. So if you were privy to the changes before then, what you could have done is you could have set up an irrevocable trust with special language inside of it that you could transfer the property into. You as the parent or the grandparent could maintain some incidences of ownership over it, and then you could transfer the property tax basis. So there's some weird nuances that come with it, but there was a planning opportunity. But once February 16th hit, that's now out the window. You're now subject to this new regime. For the other part that got changed, for the loosened exemptions for seniors, that actually goes into effect tomorrow. So on that side, really the planning is wait until April 1st to sell your property and buy a new one to transfer the property tax basis. Because if you've already tried to transfer it once, your property taxes basis once, and you try to utilize this new one, but you sell the property that you live in before April 1st, and you try to fall underneath the new exemption, I mean, what's California likely going to do? They're saying, no, you're underneath the old law. We're throwing that transfer out, and you're going to have a property tax basis reassessed to fair market value again. So really, that planning is just simple. It's just like wait till after April 1st and then move and sell your property, and then you'll be able to more easily transfer your property tax basis.
Sounds like California's got a real April Fools for us, but we'll talk more about that when we come back with Alton Moore. We'll also talk about, is home ownership still considered part of the American dream? We've got a featured home for you as well. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. No longer on Twitter. Or you can watch the broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Hi, we're here with Ron Siegel, the host of Real Estate Radio. Ron, welcome to the studio. Give us insight as to what your show is all about.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me that question. The reason we developed Real Estate Radio is right now there's an abundance of misinformation out there. So Real Estate Radio is a show designed to give Southern California a focal point for their real estate knowledge, as well as a place to go just in case they might need anything real estate related.
So how are you helping people?
That's actually pretty simple. People need advice. So it really doesn't matter who you are. If you have any real estate questions, we're here to help. Whether you're buying a home, selling, you're experiencing a loan modification, short sale, foreclosure, there are a lot of things going on in this marketplace.
How can people get a hold of you?
Real easy. All you have to do is call. The number is 1-800-306-1990. Press option 1.
Interesting times in the market right now. Where do you think the markets are going from here?
That's a great question. All I can say is this. The housing market came down one house at a time, and what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to build it one house, one family at a time. So the best thing that anyone can do is access the free advice that we really want to give you. And to do that, you simply need to call me. The number is 1-800-306-1990, option 1. I'd really love to help.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you paying rent because you think you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you renting because you don't believe that you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? The Siegel lending team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home. Amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel lending team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com, license under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed rate below 3.5% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $300,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,300 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed to NMLS ID 217037. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today. Being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Is home ownership still considered part of the American dream? Since the birth of our nation, homeownership has always been considered a major piece of the American dream. As Frederick Peters reports in Forbes, quote, "The idea of a place of one's own drives the American story. We became a nation out of desire to slip the bonds of Europe, which was still in many respects a collection of feudal societies. Old rich families of the church owned all the land, and with few exceptions, everyone else was a tenant. The magic of America lay not only in its sense of opportunity, but also in the belief that life could in every way be shaped by the individual. People traveled here not just for religious freedom, but because in America, anything seemed possible," unquote. Additionally, a research paper released just prior to the shelter-in-place orders issued last year concludes, quote, "Home ownership is undeniably the cornerstone of the American dream and is inseparable from our national ethos that, through hard work, every American should have the opportunities for prosperity and success. It is this economic mobility and greater opportunities for their children," unquote. Has the past year changed the American view on home ownership? No. A survey of prospective homebuyers released by Realtor.com last week reveals that becoming a homeowner is still the main reason this year's first-time homebuyers want to purchase a home. When asked why they want to buy, 3 of the 4 top reasons or responses center on the financial benefits of owning a home. The top 4 reasons for buying: 59%, I want to be a homeowner; 33%, I want to live in a space that I can invest in improving; 31%, I need more space; 22%, I want to build equity. Millennials, they believe most strongly in home ownership. The survey also reports 62% of millennials say that a desire to be a homeowner is the main reason they're buying a home. This contradicts the thinking of some experts who would believe that millennials were going to be the first renter generation in our history. A lot of other quotes here, but the bottom line is it's always been and very likely always will be home ownership continues to be a major component in every generation's pursuit of the American dream. Give me a call at 800-306-1990 if you want to talk about this or any other concepts. I'll put you in touch with some great real estate people around our community. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment, again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find that dream home before someone else does. We're chatting this morning. Alton Moore is on the line with us, and a California attorney and CPA. That means he's a smart guy. So we get to chat with him about what's going on in some of these crazy things that are going on. Crazy is my word. That's not his word. I don't want to put comments in his mouth there. But Prop 19, which apparently obviously we voted on last year to tax ourselves some more. Just can't understand some of these things. So Alton, before the break, we were chatting a little bit about if one has parents or grandparents still living and they transfer that property, they get the tax basis. If it's a primary residence, it follows them. What about the cost basis? Does that follow as well, or does it get reassessed to the step up, or how does that work now?
Yeah, so the step-up rules are still going to stay the same. So if you receive the property through inheritance, right, you get a step up to fair market value. If you get it as a gift, right, you're going to get it as just a transfer basis. So you'll take the same basis as your parents or your grandparents. But I mean, this is a great question, a great discussion I've been having with people lately. It's what's going to happen with Biden now in office, because there's a few things the Democrats are proposing. First thing is to lower the estate tax exemption, right? So I think everybody knows right now you're going to have $11.5 million per person. It's supposed to sunset to about 5.5 at the end of 2025. But what the Democrats want to do is, lower that or completely eliminate it to, tax higher transfers of wealth. Secondarily, they're also talking about getting rid of the step up in basis. So not only are you going to have this increased tax from Prop 19 when you have a recessed value of, primary residence or maybe even a rental property, now you're not even going to get the step up in basis. So, and it also on top of this, think about this. If they get rid of the estate tax exemption, They get rid of the step up in basis. And then, now there's Prop 19 going into effect. California taxpayers are really going to be feeling it when they receive an inheritance. So it's almost a burden at this point in time because you're going to be on the hook for all those potential taxes. And you can't even sell that property you get tax-free once you've received it from your parents. So, things are on the horizon, are changing quickly. And I get questions about this all the time. And, is it likely? I don't know. But, I'm sure you've seen some of these other proposals that have come through with Biden and with the Democrats controlling Congress and the Senate and the House. I'd say it's likely that these things will go through at least by the end of Biden's term.
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of taxes, and it fascinates me because they consistently talk about the idea that there's only taxing the rich. Well, there's certainly a trickle down because the rich folks are not going to lower their lifestyle, so they're going to either get rid of employees, pay them less, or go offshore and do things in a different way. It's not going to cut out. So then when there's not enough money, who's it going to hit? And then on the flip side, there's now this discussion about a big tax break for the rich. Now, no one wants to talk about who gets the benefit of these SALT deductions, or the limitations on the SALT state and local taxes, right? That's the benefits the rich. So if they get rid of those exemptions that came in during the Trump administration, that's strictly a benefit for the rich and famous. So it's just fascinates me. And no one wants to talk about it that way. They just say, well, we're going to benefit everybody. Yeah, well, hold your wallet. That's a little bit different there. So what about natural disasters? Did they make some changes on that as well in this Prop 19? Is that handled differently?
No, so that actually is going to follow the same treatment as the expanded relief for seniors. So really right now, underneath the old law or the old property tax exemption for natural disasters, there's varying requirements based upon if you're transferring between intra-county or inter-county, which means within or without two different counties. And they just decide to streamline it and make it follow the same laws for seniors. So essentially now, if you're subject to a natural disaster, you could transfer your property tax basis 3 times to new residents. There's some value limitations, but you can also transfer it to any other county throughout California. You're not limited to staying, in that same general place where the natural disaster occurred. So they did at least, expand relief for that. And I'm sure if you read the proposition and like those little snippets of what each law is about, that's what they try to hammer upon. It was just providing relief to those people because, California is subject to all these wildfires because of our environmental regulations for not cutting down the old dead trees that we have sitting in our forest. So it's that is actually one good thing I would say. And they're going to help those people out, which those people do need help,
So how do they define being subject to a natural disaster? Because, I know from the lending world and leading up a private lending team, we end up seeing that natural disasters are declared and they do it by county. So when we had wildfires in Anaheim Hills, all of Orange County was declared a natural disaster area. So we had to go and look at homes in Fullerton to make sure that, to make sure that they were safe. Does that mean all of Fullerton then becomes subject to the same benefits?
Yeah, that's right. So it's going to follow that same treatment. So if they declare certain county, certain area as subject to a natural disaster, then they're going to be entitled to those benefits.
That's fascinating because you end up looking and saying, okay, just off the top of my head in the last 3 years, Orange County has been subject to a natural disaster. I know Ventura had a natural disaster. Napa, I'm not sure what county that is. They had a natural disaster. Kern County, LA County. So you can almost always be part of a natural disaster. I mean, and then there's the people that are legitimately affected who need some relief. So you start wondering, okay, how are they going to deal with all of this? It's just baffling to me as to where they're going with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is true with the government most time. Most of their tools are blunt objects, and they're not like scalpels like a doctor would use, right? They just try to hammer the problem over the head with one solution without, thinking about the nuances that come with it. And then they leave that to regulators and courts to decide. They just put something on a piece of paper like, here you go, take it. And then these other bodies go in and more, define it later on. And that's the whole thing with this Prop 19. There's so many issues about, like, if we're talking about the changes in transfer exemptions for seniors and victims of natural disasters. What happens if you sell your property before the April 1st effective date, and you buy the new one after the April 1st effective date? There's nothing out there yet. And in the law or a letter to the BOE, the government's saying that, we're going to define these issues later on, and likely they're going to define them to the detriment of the California taxpayer.
Yeah, that's fascinating, and we can almost always count on that. And as general, basically what's going to happen is the trial lawyers are going to have a heyday with this, but then again, the courts aren't seeing anybody right now, so then you end up with that challenge. And the individual who tries to follow the law, do the exact, to be straightforward, they can end up, where they followed the law or what they thought was the law, but might be changed once they get into that regulation period there, or the clarification period that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Guess that goes to the point of where you need to make sure that you've got a great tax and legal professional on your part of your household board of directors. And if you want to meet Alton Moore, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch. We're going to also get into a featured home when we come back. You can reach, hey, is there anything going on with the new infrastructure bill that we need to know about from a tax standpoint? We'll see if Alton's got some insight for us on that one as well. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, no longer on Twitter. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation mortgage adoption plan. You be the judge if it's right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to map@ronsiegelradio.com, or call today Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporation in MLS 217037 and BCAL number 018694452.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
Do you believe Southern California real estate is a great investment? Are you a little short to be a cash investor? Are you missing the Social Security card or tax returns? The Siegel Lending Team has the loans for you. Common Sense Lending is back. Yes, there's a cost to higher risk, but the reward can be great. Call today for details. 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations in MLS 217037 and VRE number 1869452.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed rate below 3.5% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $300,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,300 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed to NMLS ID 217037. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The featured home segment today being brought to you by myfavoritelender.net. Where's the home? Who's got it? Maybe we can find out. Maybe we'll talk about it. Will it come on the screen? There it is. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, or if you're on the AM 1490 ABC News and Talk video stream, you're seeing 16042 Marlinton Drive in Whittier. Yeah, Paula Barrett's got this property, 3 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, single story. Home has been tastefully remodeled inside and decorated with all the light and bright colors you'll enjoy. Master bedroom and 2 other bedrooms, living room with wood-burning fireplace. 1 bedroom includes a hallway bathroom. 1 bedroom includes hallway bathroom. Okay, includes a tub shower combo with a jetted tub, recessed lighting throughout, ceiling fans in every room, newer low-E windows, upscale kitchen remodel includes high-end KitchenAid, gas stove, quartz counters, white shaker, soft closed cabinets. Oh, a lot of stuff here. Pantry, breakfast bar, facing the dining room. All of that. It could be yours if the price is right. Who did that Price is Right show? I don't even remember that. $750,000. Hey, let's take a look at a little financing and see if you can afford it. With 3.5% down, you're looking at $3,055 a month. 20% down, $26.95 a month, strategically placed. 25% down would be $23.72 a month. For those of you keeping score, that's an APR of 4.019, 3.556, or 3.218 NMLS 217037. That's just to keep the compliance people happy. They like us to make sure we share all of that fancy information. Again, if you want more information on this or any properties, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'd be happy to put you in touch with Paula Barrett on this one, TNG Real Estate Consultants. Continuing our conversation, Alton Moore is in the house. Not in the house, he's on the line actually with us today. We're chatting. But Alton, I saw this new program came out this morning, and probably nobody knows what's in it because generally we have to operate under a very, very simple process nowadays.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
So they're coming out with this new program. I think the president's going to be talking about it I think he's going to Pittsburgh today. I know he's got a tough schedule. Usually that might have to push back that 1 appointment per day that he has a limitation on. But is there anything new in this plan that we should know about that you've seen so far?
Yeah, so really, I was able to read into some of it, mainly from the tax perspective, and it's nothing that we haven't seen come from the Biden camp before. I mean, really, I think it was $2 trillion. Is that what you said at the beginning of the show of his total?
I've seen reports of $2.25 trillion. Then I saw $3 trillion, $4 trillion. What's a trillion amongst friends?
Well, you know how he's going to try to fund it is through increased taxes. So this is something that we've been talking about and seeing since the time Biden was just in his incumbency running for president. And how they're actually going to try to fund it is through various tax changes. Surprise, surprise, right? So I think some of the 3 big ones that he's hammering or that he's talking about today are increases to the corporate tax rate, the imposition of a minimum corporate tax, almost like the AMT. And then there's some various other changes that they're going to hit from the foreign perspective. But, I guess the first one to talk about, right, is the increase to the corporate tax rate. Right now, it's a flat 21%, and they want to increase it to a flat 28%. It's interesting, for me, from a tax advisor perspective, I never really focus on the rate. While it's a consideration, I'm always thinking about how do we reduce taxable income, because 28% of zero is still zero at the end of the day. And you made a good point earlier where Amazon has like, $17 billion in tax expense. I'm surprised they even have that much. I mean, I work with some Fortune 500 companies. They make tons of money, but they have zero taxable income. So that means they're paying zero taxes to the government. Now, that's not true with all of them. Depends upon the industry, when they started, how far along they are in their business cycle. But it's just kind of ridiculous, because if they want to close the loopholes, they would just make everybody pay tax on gross income without any deductions, right? So that's kind of my own thing on that. And, secondarily, this corporate minimum tax.
Something called the flat tax? Wasn't that the idea that I think Steve Forbes had, just a flat tax?
Yeah, that's right. But, it's ridiculous, because they say they want to tax the rich people. Well, they could do it. It's all a show at the end of the day, because there's ways to do it. They're just not, they're never going to really address it, because it's not in their donors' interest at the end of the day.
Yeah, it just fascinates me. Now, I'm going to throw this at you, Alton, and it's just my personal opinion, but I want to see what your thoughts are. Am I all wet, or am I onto something? And my belief is that regardless, corporations don't pay taxes, they collect them. Right? Amazon, if they've got $18 billion in taxes, they just collected that. They increased prices, passed it along from me to went into their account and passed it along to the federal government. So I paid that tax. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I would generally agree. I mean, it just makes sound business sense. If they're expecting that they're going to have an increased expense, how are they going to adjust for it? These big corporations are going to go to their outside economics team or analysts. And it's like, all right, how can we increase our rates here to be more competitive? Because when you have increased taxes, there's more inflation. Things are just at a higher pace. And so it's just, you make a good point. Really, it's just always passed through to you and I as the end consumer.
Do you see from a tax planning or a tax expert's opinion, I look at it and say, okay, if we go to a 21% tax rate from 21 to 28, as a business person, I've never been the tax planner. Like I say, I went to school a little bit for it and then decided that I like the entrepreneurial world a little better for me. That I said, okay, something, I'm just going to take whatever I can and go find some place to do it cheaper. Right? So California has all kinds of taxes on me hiring people. So I hired people in India. Right? Do you think that that's what it's going to do, is promote people to go and say, okay, I got a 21% tax rate in the U.S. I think I'm going to build my business in Ireland or Scotland or something along those lines?
Yeah, actually, and this is something I commonly deal with. So a lot of the work I do is centered around international. So some guys will want to go set up, subsidiaries in a foreign country. And I will say, the Trump tax reform radically changed how international taxes are viewed from a corporate perspective. But essentially, if you're a U.S. company and you want to outsource work, you're probably going to hire independent contractors in India, Argentina, the Philippines, somewhere where it's cheaper to do. And what the Trump tax reform did is disincentivize to own foreign subsidiaries, and actually is incentivizing that foreign companies are the parent company of U.S.-based entities, just because the way that they're going to impute income from these foreign subs. So, it's interesting to see, but you make a good point, and that's what I commonly see is people are outsourcing these activities to low-cost countries as opposed to keeping it here in the U.S., even though they've tried to structure the tax regime such that it would, hurt these companies that do that. There's just ways of playing around it. And I think it goes to your point where you look at a guy like Trump, he's hiring the best advisors in the world. That's why he paid, was it $400 of income tax one year? I mean, I worked at Ernst & Young. I've seen all these guys, these high net worth individuals that make hundreds of millions of dollars, but they pay zero tax because they just hire the right people to help them out at the end of the day.
And those when you start looking at some of these tax laws and codes and whatnot, I don't know, they say that the tax code is like 30,000 pages, right? So a working guy like you and me, we probably don't have the need to find somebody that's going to know all 30,000 pages. Somebody like Trump, he's looking and he's hiring, maybe 50 people like Alton, who are all looking at this from a different perspectives and saying, okay, well, if you do this, these are the effects. And then you go back to say, okay, what's been litigated to figure out what they really meant in the law.
Yep. Yeah. No, you're totally right. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, like I have clients where I'm one of a few advisors, and we all put our heads together. We all come up with numbers, and what do we do to change these to get to the best position? And you're right. A guy like Trump can also fund litigation, so they could take a position and say, no, IRS, you're wrong, and we're going to fight you in court, and we're going to have more resources than you to win this at the end of the day.
It's all fascinating to me, and it's amazing how us as the little guy that's just trying to do the right thing, we're the one that's going to really pay the bill. No matter what they say about the rich paying it, point that finger right at yourself, because that's who's going to get all these the bill for this. That $1,400 check that you just got, it came out of your pocket, but you got to pay $5,000 to get that $1,400. Great information. If you want to meet Alton Moore, give me a call at 800-306-1990. We can go on with this forever, but they're not going to let me. As always, I ask you, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.